Hey there, guys, and a big welcome back to the Blaze TV podcast. It's Kimberley and Stu Coles with you, and our guest on this edition, new Blaze netminder, Dershahn Stewart. Dershahn, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and a big welcome to the Blaze, sir.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, the pleasure, honestly, is all ours. And I hope you're ready for a little bit of a trip down memory lane. And I was doing a little bit of digging because, we like to do the whole research thing here, try and go as thorough as possible. And I was looking up Amersfoort, where you're from, which is a really kind of cool like part of Canada in that it kind of sticks out a little bit. It's pretty close to the US border. In fact, I don't think you could get closer to the US border if you tried. With I guess that little bit of tribalism between Canadian hockey teams and US hockey teams, you had the Red Wings just down the road. You're a Canadian guy. Like, who was your team like that you rooted for growing up? Because you got a lot of choice.
Oh, because I'm so close to the border, everybody loved Detroit, so I decided to shift over to Toronto. So I'm a big Leafs fan. So yeah, yeah.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha.
yeah, so my heart's been hurting for the last few years, you know. So it's been tough. It's been tough to see. Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least you're not alone. Although I heard there was some good news with Matthew Nyes getting a contract
Yeah,
extension,
yep.
which
And JT too. Johnny, he came back as well. So I'm excited about that. So hopefully we can keep on moving in the right direction here.
for sure, absolutely. Goalies. Let's talk about goalies. Being a goalie yourself, it's a pretty specialist position.
Hmm.
Was there a pro goalie that you idolized growing up? Being a Leafs fan and having Detroit just up the road. I mean, Dom Hasek was kind of in his prime when you were growing up. So did that pull at the old heartstrings a little bit?
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite goalies, but the top one on my list, it's actually funny. So it's Patrick Waugh, and that goes on playing for Amherstburg. Our logo is the Avalanche, so they say yeah, but we just had like the star, so we were called the Amherstburg Stars. So I just liked the jerseys, and then I saw Patrick Waugh and how he was like fierce, one of the best goalies in the league, and I just like he had number 33, so I picked number 33, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Was it always goalie for you, or did you ever kind of dabble playing out?
Nope. So I dabbled a little bit. Actually, me and this other kid from Amherstburg, we were both defensive partners. And then I believe the girls that were playing net for us, so we had two girls on our team, they ended up going to the girls' league. And then it had room, and we both played goalie one day. And I think, well, from my story, I made a glove save, and I was like, wow, like this is awesome. Everybody was like cheering and everything. And I said, that felt more exhilarating than scoring a goal. So I was like this is for me. And I knew I wanted to be a goalie when it was picture day, and I didn't have the goalie equipment on, and I started crying to my mom. But I was 7 years old. I was 7 years old at that time. But I think I transitioned when I was 8 or 9, and then after that, the other goalie too. He actually doing very successful right now. He just signed another deal with the Boston Bruins, Michael DiPietro. So yeah, he signed a 2 years this year. I mean, actually just today. So good for him. Yeah, yeah. And then we just kind of, we went both our different paths, and yeah, here we are.
I was going to say the rest is history, but not quite history. Is you've got a lot of hockey
Yeah,
ahead of you. But
exactly.
we are going to stay in the past there. Let's talk about playing on the Sale because that's also pretty close to where you grew up, just a little bit further north of you there.
Yes.
That must have been a sweet deal. You're close to home. The family can come and see you play. I mean, what was that experience like?
It was a great experience. Actually, my first year, so it was actually quite a big of a jump. So I played only single A, as you could see on the website, and then going to junior B, it was like, wow, what an adjustment! Like it all happened so quick. I just went to a couple of skates in the summer, and then one of the coaches seen me. I went to their camp, and then um, yeah, just kind of got signed that summer, and didn't get to play that much my first year. And my second year I almost got cut, and I was like, well, this would suck just because like this is where I'm from, like I want to like have family and friends to support me and everything. And um yeah, because there was that new rule for AAA, and they had a AAA, I mean, for the OHL 18U, and a kid got drafted, and he was from LaSalle and everything, but one of the goalies went to the Null after, and then that spot stayed open, and I ended up playing, and I did pretty well that year, but it was just nice to have my friends and family. We had teams around the area, so they got to travel up if we played like Chatham, and then like Sarnia and everything. It's not too far. Leamington was in the league at that time as well, so it was really nice to see everybody. And like you've seen familiar faces just from growing up and playing them around town and everything. So it was nice to see. It was fun. It was competitive and everything. So it was awesome for sure.
Just to pause very very slightly. There's something really funny in there that I'd never picked up. You played at Leamington, so there's a place that's
Yes,
about 5 minutes up the road from Coventry called Leamington, spelled exactly the same way. And I
same
guess
way. Yeah.
so. I guess this is a little bit like Birmingham and Birmingham if you're in Alabama,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is kind of amusing. I never put two and two together before. I always assumed the Canadian way would be the same as the British way, but hey ho, you learn something every day.
Yeah.
But listen, you say you didn't really play much in that first year. You certainly made the most of the time that you had on the ice. I mean, I think you had a 10-2 record.
Hmm.
LaSalle won the Western Conference regular season title.
We did, yes. Yeah.
That must have been a heck of a season to be part of, and a really good season to be dropped into in terms of junior hockey.
No, for sure. It was I still remember the first game we played, I think the defending champs the year prior, and I was like, wow, this is the hockey I'm jumping into. This is like exciting. I know my team's really good, and we were supposed to go far that year, and it was like a humbling experience just to know like it's not that easy. We went in and it was actually a bunch of kids like my age group, the Leamington Flyers, that knocked us out, and I was like, wow, like you can't take anything for granted. Like we had the roster, we had everybody on the if you looked at a piece of paper and you said, wow, like that's the lineup, like they're probably gonna win it all and go far. And we didn't even make it past the first round. So you like at that point you just know that playoff hockey is a different beast and you can't be too cocky, you can't be too sure of yourself. You have to bring it every night. And that's how I learned real quick that day that junior hockey, and probably the higher you go up, that it's gonna be harder to win. So that was like the nice part of it, I would say. Definitely learning. Yeah.
That's a really, honestly, I mean, it sucks at the time because no one likes to lose, particularly when, there's that feeling that you could go on and do something. But actually, learning that lesson early on has probably been quite beneficial.
Oh no, for sure. I would say so. Especially like I said, like we had the group to do it. We're affiliated with the Windsor Spitfires, so we had a lot of people that dropped down that year. We had some 16-year-olds that were really good. We even had like some of the APs that we pulled up, like they were really talented. So just to be on that team, like I felt like grateful just to be there in that situation, just how good that team was. And yeah, just to learn that even though you have everybody and the potential and everything, it's not given. Like you have to work for it. And it's not like we didn't work, but like the other team worked a little bit harder and we're a little bit smarter at times. And that's just how hockey goes. Sometimes you just lose. So very humbling, and it kind of like made you want to be better and never have that experience happen to you again. So yeah.
After year two in LaSalle, you ended up moving up to junior A, and that second year was kind of, I guess, your spotlight year as the starter, and a nice winning record, a nice individual stat line. Was there always that kind of drive, that desire to try and play at that next tier? And do you think those performances that you put in got the scouts talking and ended up landing you in the OJ?
Yeah, I always wanted to see what was out there. I wasn't too familiar with the leagues actually until we have like a French school down here in Windsor, and that's where I went, La Jeunesse, and it was called Franco. And actually, when I went up to Toronto, um, and when I was playing single A, I went to a rink and it's called Trenton, and they had an OJHL team there. And I'm like, oh, like, what's that? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, junior A. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then that year I went to the All-Star game, and then they're talking about junior A and then NCAA. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much hockey out here that I don't even know of. Like I had never even heard of anything. And I know like my goalie went to the Null, that's what they call that, over in the States, and I didn't really know much of it, but I knew it was junior A. So that's when I started looking at things, and I was like, wow, that would be really interesting. And then Coburg, I was actually a Twitter message. Their GM just said, hey, how you doing? Sorry for the loss, but we're really interested in having you come up. And then after that, I think I met up with them. They were very nice. I actually played in a tournament, and then that's when they kind of offered me the spot, and I was like, wow, I don't even know what to say because like, yeah, I know what you guys are, but like now I'm moving away from home and everything, and my coach at the time, he actually went to the Windsor Spitfires, and left my second year. But I called him and I kind of asked him about it just because he's been all around. He played for the Windsor Spitfires and everything, and he just said if they're not pressuring you and they seem very nice and everything, and they're investing in you, then um, definitely you should probably take it, just because it's a higher level and everything. And kind of took the leap of faith, and my mom as well, because like she's let her baby boy go out there, and I got the support and everything, so I jumped out there, and I think that was the best decision of my life for sure. Met great people, great friends that I still talk to today. My billet family is just amazing. I see them almost every summer, and it's just awesome. Yeah.
And it was quite the move. I mean, you mentioned mum being kind of sad to see you go. It's Coburg's 500 kilometers away from where you're from. It's quite
Hmm.
literally the other side of Toronto, kind of on Lake Ontario there. But like, you
Hmm.
didn't seem to have any homesickness, right? Because certainly not in terms of your hockey, because you hit the ground running again. You have another good individual record. You win another conference title. And then did you get a little bit of deja vu from when you were playing LaSalle? Because you unexpectedly lost in the first round of the playoffs again, like you did to Leamington.
Yep, exactly. And it was the same thing. We had it on paper. We At the deadline, we had the good the right pieces that came in, and then we played a good Wellington Dukes team. They came out hard. They weren't expected to go that far. We were supposed to be the team that went all the way. We beat the top teams. We had a good record. We had players that were 2 points per game, and we fell into trouble with injuries. We felt like we were the best team out there, so it kind of bit us in the rear end, you know. So it was unfortunate, and it was a little deja vu, and it did suck. Obviously, you really want to do well, especially if you have like the team to do it. And sometimes you look back on what could you have done differently and everything. But that's just the part of growing up and living life and going on the journey. And not everything's gonna be given to you, and not everything's gonna be perfect. So yeah, you just have to learn and keep on pushing forward, because one day it's just gonna happen for you. It's like you just have to be consistent and not get too down on yourself, because failure's gonna happen. It's what you can learn from it. So
Absolutely, I agree. It's not the adversity you go through, but how you go through the adversity. I think that's
exactly.
stands out. One final one from me, and then I'll hand over to Stu for a little while because I appreciate I've been rambling away. But hockey is a very small world, a very small world. And one of your coaches in Coburg was a UK hockey legend in Tommy Plummer, who Sheffield
Yeah.
Steelers fans will know pretty well. What was working with him like?
He was awesome. He actually, our second year, ended up getting presented the head coaching job, because there was a lot that happened that year. I think we went through like three or four coaches, and yeah, he came in. I think after it was my first year, second half, and he was just awesome, just a great guy to talk to, personable. We got really close. You knew what you were getting from him. Like, yeah, he wasn't there just to put you down or anything. Like, he was there to kind of push you forward. He was there as a friend as well. Like, you could talk to him anytime. If you're having a bad day, you can just go to him. He was like an open book for you, and it was sad to see him go. I think he ended up stepping down at one point with some family stuff, and that was like totally okay. We all respected that, but yeah, he was a great person. Like, nothing but good things to say about him, and yeah, he was awesome. We saw a couple of videos. Our coach pulled him up a couple of times, and we didn't know he got that fired up sometimes on the ice, but he was definitely a legend for sure. I heard so. It was a great experience that time with him for sure.
Well, he was knocking around when I was a kid, and
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
I remember him being tough as nails. So
Oh, yeah.
um,
Yeah, we saw the videos. It's awesome.
hockey has changed a heck of a lot in that time since he was playing, but it's good that he's still
Yeah.
influencing the game in a positive way. Stu,
Oh, for
let me
sure.
hand over to you, my good friend.
Yeah, certainly very well known and respected, not just in Sheffield, but also up and down the country as a great contributor to hockey within the UK. Um, During all of those years, you said yourself there that you didn't know much, when you were playing like early on, you didn't know much about the sort of like the higher levels and NCAA, etc. At what point did the idea of going to college to play hockey sort of come about? And when did Adrian come in and start talking to you?
Okay. So it was the All-Star game, I believe, my first year. It kind of got introduced to me, and the second year, um, I they came and did like a little presentation, and I was like, oh, like this is really cool. And then every year we do a yearly trip with the LaSalle Vipers, and we ended up going to Notre Dame. It was Notre Dame versus Ohio State, and I was like, this is NCAA, and I was like, this is insane. And you could just hear everybody. You got the marching band going, everybody screaming, the crowd's electric. I'm like, and I think I saw. It was a goalie. He was like my age, and he was playing, and I was like, "There's no way like that could be like something I'm a part of, like all of this." And yeah, it was like very exciting. And I didn't started getting looks until I went to the OJHL, and then I was like, "Oh, like maybe I should start writing out emails and everything." But it was a little difficult for me just because I was a little bit of a bigger boy back then. I weighed in at 275 pounds at one time. So it was a little tougher for me, especially when they found out my weight off ice. And I cut down to like 245-ish before the end of the season, but I really had to work hard to get where I am today. Um, but yeah, Adrian, we didn't really talk that much. I actually talked to the ACHA team, and then um, I think I talked once on the phone with Adam Krug, who was my coach, but then we didn't talk again until the summer. And that was actually when Morsey, he was on Adrian, and he ended up calling me. And thank God, because I was going to go to a local team here, university, and I ended up um, something happened. They wanted to send me to like an outlaw league, and I wasn't going to play university because I already said no to everybody else because I thought I was going to this university. And then when I was on the phone with someone out in BC, because they wanted me, I ended up saying, I told them the situation. They said, "Oh, maybe you should double check with him and see what's the plan." And I called him and he told me the plan. I was like, well, that's unfortunate. And then that day, Morsey called me and then he's like, oh, we're interested, blah, blah, blah. We just had like a goalie just ended up going D1. He was from the USHL and we have a spot open. And so it was like late summer and I was like, wow, thank God, because I wouldn't be playing hockey anymore, basically, or I would be going to like trying to find like a late D3 team. And what got me to go actually is said a little prayer before bed, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, should I just go with Adrian, or should I just go to school here? I don't know what I'm going to do, or try to email on their school and hopefully I can get in. And then at 6 a.m., my mom walks in my room and she goes, I think you should go to Adrian. And then that was the rest is history. So yeah, that's how I kind of ended up going to Adrian. It was like it was a little bit of luck, but like I'm glad it happened. So for sure.
Yeah, you sometimes the opportunities just kind of fall for you in a very positive way. And you started at Adrian in the middle of the pandemic. So what was it
I
like?
did, yes.
Like, what was it like starting? Like, I mean, for anyone going to university is a big part of their life, and it's a big change. But obviously, you're then playing sports as well, and you're moving different countries. That must have been like an experience.
Oh yeah, it was overwhelming at first, and I felt like I was on like an island, like I was like not part of the world. Like everything else outside of Adrian was like the unknown kind of thing. Because when I was hearing from back at home, they're like, yeah, we have cards, like you gotta get vaccinated, need these cards to go in. And it was just like weird just because you've already been in the summer for the whole time, like the 3 months, and you're staying inside quarantining. I did end up working at a nursing home and everything, kind of helping out with that, but like you couldn't really do anything. Like at the end of summer, you could see some people, but like it was kind of weird. But then you're transitioning into school, and then like there's another COVID outbreak, and then after you're fine, but then now you're in pods, and now you're not meeting all your teammates at first, just because you have to go separately, like 7 in this group, 7 in this group, 7 in this group, 8 in this group, and then after a while, we did like a good job, like President Docking couldn't thank that guy anymore just because he wanted us to play, and he went through all the protocols to have us play and like to have us like continue playing that year. And and like obviously Adam Krug, and we had Adam Phillips and everything, and they made sure that we got to play like a little bit, even though it wasn't like a full season. We got to play some D1 school. We got to play the U.S. National team, U18, and then we ended up having like a little mini in the second half, like a little mini conference play. But it was definitely weird. A lot going on. So yeah, but other than that, like it was a great experience. Like you couldn't ask for anything else. Like I met so many people that year, even though it was like a big no-no to see people, because like after that, like we kind of figured out like we could definitely go and see people. Like yeah, I had like outbreaks, but it was like in a controlled environment and everything, and definitely did a good job, and they made sure that we're safe. We had the COVID test and everything, which was we were very thankful for that, and just the opportunity to play hockey, because a lot of people got missed that year. So it was awesome how Adrian handled that, and I'm glad I got to go and experience that, even though it was kind of a tough situation. But like again, it was like a blessing in disguise too. So yeah.
Yeah, and you said you met a lot of people during that time, and you obviously meet a lot of people through the course of college, and a lot of those people have ended up winding their way through Coventry as well. So we'll take a little bit of a brief sort of who's who, because that the link now between Coventry and Adrian is quite something. You've mentioned Kevin already, so effectively, recruited by Kevin twice over. For two separate teams, but he kind of left. Your paths only sort of touched a little bit, if my understand's right. But one person that you did know from a coaching perspective, former Blaze player Matt Thompson, was part of that Adrian coaching setup as well. What was it like working with Matt?
Matt, he was awesome. Obviously he was a younger coach too, so that was great. You get that connection. Right at first, like he's coming in, like you don't really know who he is. They just said, "Oh, we're just waiting on his visa," blah blah blah, and then he came in and just introduced himself, and like right off the step, like he was just a great guy. Everybody loved him. Great guy to talk to, very knowledgeable. It was like an awe too, because of his experience. He went to Adrian, he got up to the ECHL, he made his way up to the AHL, he made his way up to the IHL. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, wow, like he did all this, and like, yeah, the injuries kind of hurt him in the long run, but like at the same time, he kind of took that step, and he made that path for the kids at Adrian that wanted to pursue pro and to get to that high level, because a lot of people look at D3 hockey and say, it's just D3 hockey. These kids don't are just trying to get as much as they can out of it. It's not NCAA D1, so they can't really make it, blah, blah, blah. But like just showing like little stories like Matt himself, like he kind of painted the road for us. And obviously now like Alessio Luciani, and then we had like Sam Ruffin. He went on, Matu Spalniak. There was like a bunch of guys, tie ends. Like after that, it was like a floodgates kind of like opened up, and it was just great to see. And obviously like Cam Gray, I think you guys had him for like a small stint at the beginning of last year, and it's just like over and over, it's just like it's great to see that Adrian's saying that, yeah, you're here for school, but we're also here to win a national championship, and we're also here to push you forward to go pro. So what they're doing with that program is amazing, and then especially to get him back as a coach and have Adam Krug as a coach, to have Morsey as a coach, to have Adam Phillips as a coach, like that's just special. And these guys really want us to succeed in life, and not just on the ice, but like as humans as well, as husbands, brothers, this family, friends, this anything in general. So it's just really nice to see.
And I think that people aspect has kind of played a little bit into what Kevin is trying to create here at Coventry. There's a lot of replication about the feel, and obviously you're going to lean into people and players who kind of fit that sort of mold. And you've rattled off a few other ones as well. Cam Gray, you mentioned a very short stint with us, but you shared a very special season with Cam, winning that national title. What was it like? Sort of. But you're in that goalie. I think there was three of you sort of in the sort of there at the time, but you lost one game. Like what's it like to sort of win a national title by losing just one game, league and playoffs?
Yeah, I just got chills when you just said that. Yeah. No, it was a very special group. We're very close, and just the experience that we would go through, just with the activities that we went through, um, especially like sometimes you get that jealousy and everything when you have three goalies and everything. But for Cam, Rico, and I, we were just really close. We wanted each other to do well, and each time we stepped into the crease, everybody was supporting everybody, and that was the same with people who were in and out of the lineup. Everybody was supporting everybody. Obviously, you want to be in, but sometimes you got to sacrifice. And some people, some of the players that were in the lineup at the beginning of the year, they might have not been in the lineup at this mid-season, but they made themselves back in at the end of the season. It was just that constant push. Everybody was pushing everybody. And I think that's what made us so successful, is just because everybody was driven because they knew how good we were, and we had a standard, and we met that standard, and we weren't going to drop below for no one. So that was like the big thing. And like Cam, he's a great role model. Like I look up to him like almost every day. Like he kind of helped me flourish and kind of get me to where I am today. Without him, like he taught me the ins and outs. Obviously, I told you about my little. I was overweight and everything, and I lost all the weight. But then I was just like, oh, I just have to train. But I wasn't training with intent. I didn't train to be a goalie, and he kind of steered me into the right direction and be like, okay, this is what you have to do. It's about the mentality. It's about training with function and using your full body and everything. And this is the goalie specific drills that you have to do. And I couldn't thank him enough for that. Like he took his time of what he was doing to invest into me, and that I couldn't thank him anymore. Like I couldn't thank him. Like even more than that. Like I could, like I wish I could like do more, for him. But like other than like I don't know. Just talking about that guy, it just makes me smile just because how much he did for me. And it's you don't get people like that nowadays, and it's kind of upsetting. But like if you have like that good seed that kind of drops the knowledge for you, like you want to give back, and hopefully I can give back to someone else down the line. So I'm hoping to do what he did for me. So
Yeah, and he was a very brief stint in Coventry, but it's great to see him flourishing, new family, goaltending coach, playing a little coaching in Indy as well this past year. Seems that all is going well, and we're really pleased for him as well, because like you say, although we only saw him for a brief season, that preparation was very key. You could tell that he was somebody who was dotting the I's, crossing the T's on every aspect of his game. You also mentioned Alessio Luciani, who's obviously well known now to Blaze fans, and Zach Heinz, two very short, fast, skillful players. Who both hit. What was it like playing with Alessio? And also, did you ever face Alessio when he was, because you were both in the OJ at the same time? Did you end up playing him
yes.
when he was at Markham?
I did actually. I think we only played Markham only a handful of times. Uh, I think we both actually got Player of the Month that year, that month, and he did end up slipping one by me. I think it was loose in the crease, but we got the win though. We got the win, but he got the goal for sure. He continued the hot streak. But yeah, it was awesome playing with him. Like his preparation too. Sometimes you would think he's a goalie, so like he has this like that focus, like he knows what he wants. And He has that preparation. He knows what he's going to do. He has that consistency, and that's probably why he's been doing so well. Just because he has a plan, and it's to be the best person he can be, the best version he can be for himself, and he wants to execute, and that shows on his daily routines and how he plays the game. And yeah, it's just even living with him, like you could just see like the little details, making sure that things are put in the right places at the right time and everything. Him waking up at the right time, him being at the gym at the right time, making sure that nothing's really out of order. And even if it is out of order, he kind of like he knows how to navigate. He knows how to kind of bounce back from any hardship or anything. Like he's very strong-minded, very nice, very genuine, and you couldn't ask for a better person to be by your side. So.
And just one final note, and going back to the sort of like the general standards, NCAA, Div 3, the fans in the UK might not be aware there is no Div 2. It's 3 or 1. And actually, Adrian, at the top end of Div 3, it's very comparable to some of the sort of the other, sort of like some of those Div 1 sides as well. And that was certainly something that Adam Krug was, when we had the opportunity to have him on the podcast last year, was talking about, how Adrian is a really strong team, not just in Div 3, but in the whole NCAA landscape.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially we got to see some of the teams that are played in the NCAA Division One, and we held our own. We didn't win any of those games, but at the same time, like we were just right there. It's just like the small detail that ended up losing us the game, and that was in my freshman year, and that was the COVID season. But after that, like especially our sophomore year, I think we would have competed really well with them. Even like my junior and senior year, even our past year that we just had, like D3 is getting really well, getting really good, and you could even see it with the other teams. Like some of the teams that are in our conference, like they're very strong now, and you could see it. And each team you go and play, it's not just a drop. It's not like the first couple of teams are good and then it's a drop off. Like everybody's competing day and night, and you don't know who's going to end up top. So it's great to see, and there's more teams. There's more players realizing that and kind of choosing the D3 route, and it's great to see. And um, you know, even if you went D1, if you're not playing, like there's players that are still good and still have the itch, and instead of like not playing your 4 years, you kind of turn over to D3 and kind of get your foot in the door, start playing, and you never know what can happen. So like people are watching, and you need that confidence, you need that playing time, and it's never a bad thing to go D3. And that's just my opinion and going through it. And you can see it that everybody's kind of getting to the same spot as the people are in NCAA D1. It just like the comparative of like the Salabrinis and everything. Obviously, they're going to the NHL and everything, but like you can still have a good pro career after playing in D3. So I think that's a great route, in my opinion.
On like the ladder, you said this a couple of times, like when you're ready to take that next step up, you kind of, for whatever reason, however the circumstance came about, got to have a glimpse at what's next. You were the e-bug or the emergency backup for Kalamazoo for a little bit too, just during the season gone. Like, how did that come about? And did you get to go to the rink? Presumably, you had to be there. It's a town in Michigan, so as we already established, not all that far away. What was that little glimpse into the East Coast like?
Oh, that was awesome. So what was I doing? I was just at the rink and just walking around. I think I just finished a workout, was hanging out. I think I just finished class, went to workout, and then I get a text, and um, it was like, oh, it's so and so from the Kalamazoo. Our coach is going to contact you. And then the coach reached out to me, and he's like, oh, our goalie got hurt. Um, would you be interested in potentially coming on the road with us and potentially staying for a few weeks with us? We don't know his situation, but we're not going to put him on the IR yet, but we're just seeing how it goes with him. And I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. He said, I'll get back to you and everything. And what was funny is our coach and then another person who helps out, Mark Bernard, they knew the Kalamazoo's coach, and he my coach, like Adam Phillips, he was at the game and the goalie got hurt, and they're like, "Oh, we have someone if you guys need someone." So it kind of was the perfect, well, not the perfect time. It wasn't perfect timing, but it was kind of perfect timing for like myself. Obviously not for him. Like I felt bad that he got hurt, but then yeah, I ended up getting the call, and then I went down on like a Wednesday night. They were on the road Thursday morning. Just got on a bus, introduced myself to all the guys. The goalies were awesome. Like I got to learn a lot from them. I actually being there for 3 weeks, like you just seeing the high level and like how good they are and everything, like you kind of have to adapt and like you get better as you go up. And it was like great to see, like you see the plays that they make, you see like the little details that they do, especially in the game. Like you hear how the coach talks, and like you see the video, you see how the other team plays. It was just crazy seeing the atmosphere. Like I think we were in Bloomington first, but then we went to Cincinnati, and wow, that was just insane. Just seeing how many people are in there. I believe they fit like 10,000 people in that day, and I was like, this is insane. Like I never seen so many people in one building, and like the fans were super nice. Like sometimes you go to like the enemy's house, and you think that they're gonna give it to you, but a lot of them were really nice. You got to sign pucks, like you felt like you belonged to the team. The guys were just amazing. Sometimes you head the pro, you hear some things like, oh, some guys won't be nice to you, blah blah blah, but then like all the guys were nice, open arms. Like even like the goalie, Lemieux, he let me try on his CCM pads just because I was interested in them, and he's like, yeah, just give them a try out and everything. And yeah, they were just awesome. And then their other goalie, he also played D3 for Marion. So it's just like full circle. It's just like, yeah, D3 players can play at the levels. And I think he actually came to England. I'm not too sure what team he started off with, but then he ended up going back home just because of family stuff. But then, yeah, it's just like crazy to see like how some players were NCAA D1, and then some players were D3, and then some people were OHL. It's just like everybody kind of ended up in the same place, So it was nice to see that, and it was just great. I was grateful for the opportunity and just for them to let me come out, and I got the dress for Paw Patrol night too, and all that stuff. Or they gave me a jersey for Paw Patrol night and everything, so then that was awesome. And I got the dress for a home game or two, and then got the dress on the road for all three of them. So it was a great experience, and I didn't get to play, but like just being there and like seeing the pro mentality and what it takes to get to the pros, and it kind of lights a fire under you, and just like, okay, that's what I want to do, and I want to play pro hockey, and this is what I have to do to play pro hockey. And it kind of like leads you into the right direction. And I'm glad that I got that experience, because now I know what I have to work on with my game to be successful at that level. So it's just great to see. Yeah. It's
And
great
I'm
to
sure
be a
you're
part of it.
younger. Oh no, absolutely. Like that's why I really wanted to know about it, because you hear some really interesting emergency backup stories. Like you've got what's his name, David Ayres, that got that win for Carolina back in the day, literally running through the rink with his gear, like all dramatic. And yeah, and being on the road for 3 weeks is a heck of a stint. You actually get to know the guys, and really get to start learning the hockey at that tier. Did they let you keep the Paw Patrol jersey? Because I'm sure if they did, you've got some
They
younger
did.
relatives that go crazy for that.
Yep, they did. They did. So it was actually Young's jersey, and he was number 33, but like obviously I was 33, so they were very nice, and they put my name bar on it, and so I have 33, and then the Paw Patrol one. So I can definitely give it to a little relative, a little cousin, baby cousin. So that'd be awesome. It was a cool experience. I've never seen dogs in a rink before, and there were a bunch of dogs barking that day, I can tell you that. So um no, it's definitely a cool experience. They're a great organization. Nothing but good things to say about them.
Well, we love a special jersey in the Elite League, which you'll come to learn in just a couple of months' time.
Okay,
And
perfect.
hockey being a small world didn't popping up in our research, but Mark Bernard has had his fingerprints on so many different Elite League stories. Obviously, he was a goalie here and a coach with Basingstoke way back when. So that's cool that your paths crossed. But you mentioned another name in there, and we talked about playing with Luch, we talked about playing with Heinze. We talked about playing with Cam Gray. As a bit of a sneaky exclusive, you're going to be reunited with Sam Ruffin here in Coventry, which is going to be pretty awesome because, looking at Sam's resume, he was the tournament MVP the year you won the national championship. His tape looks like he can sure shoot the puck. So do you want to be the first one to tell us about Sam?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's also an Adrian with us right now, so that's a great thing too. So it's me, Luch, and Sam there right now. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's special talent. I still remember my first time here. I mean, my first time in Adrian. We stepped on the ice, and everybody's like, I think we're just like hanging out as a team, and everybody's like, yeah, like. To watch this guy, I go, oh, he's like that good. And you go into the OJ and everything, you see good players and everything. And then I think it was his first shot. He kind of give the little toe drag release opposite side, and you're going, oh, I've never seen that before. And then that's when you knew he was a good player, just the way he skated and everything. Just to see his game grow too. From like that first year that I seen him to like his second year of getting MVP. And All American, it's just like, wow, this guy is like so good. Like from not just the offensive side, but to the defensive side. Like that was like the big thing. He kind of always wanted to play on the offensive side, but then he kind of matured his game. He's like, oh, I can't. If I want to be like a really good player, I have to be an all-around player. And like you could see that he was a good 200-foot player, and that's why he was so successful at the front of the on the front end of the puck, and just like his offense just took off just because of his defense. You know what I mean? He wasn't cheating the game, and when the opportunity presented itself, he kind of took advantage of it. And his skating, his skill, like he's a very special player, and the way his brain works is nice to see, especially when he was obviously on my team. Like he was running that power play, you knew he was each time he touched the puck, like someone he was getting it to someone, or he was just creating an opportunity. And it's just nice to see. It's nice to be with him again on the team, like on your team. And then I think everybody in Coventry is gonna be excited to see what he can do, because when he plays at his elite level, like he can, as an elite player as he can, they're gonna see how special he is for sure.
We've heard lots of good things about his game. We've seen lots of good things on the tape about his game, but we hear lots of good things about him as a person as well. And part of the leadership group for most of the time that he was at Adrian, actually. What kind of presence is he in the locker room in terms of a leader? Because there are different types, aren't there? There's the lead by example, quiet guys. There's the the kind of louder guys that are kind of trying to G up the room. Where does Sam sit in the whole leadership spectrum?
Yeah, I would say Sam's more of a lead by example type of guy. Obviously he's outgoing and everything, but like when it comes to hockey, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna uh, put my head down and work, and you guys just have to follow type of thing. He's not gonna voice his opinion and yell at you guys, but like if he has something to say to you, like he'll say it, and he'll say it in a like respectful manner. And nothing but great things to say about him. He's just a great guy to be around, and if you need to go to him for anything, like he's there for you. You're not nervous to approach him. Just a great guy overall. Yeah, but I would definitely say he's a lead by example. He's gonna work his I was gonna say it, but he's gonna work really hard, so which is nice. So yeah, you're gonna see a hardworking kid out there, and definitely gonna be a leader in a different way, not by his voice, but by his actions for sure.
Well, a podcast episode coming with Sam Ruffin real soon, so we're looking forward to that. But let's come back to you too, because we talked quite a lot about a lot of different goalies throughout your career, but we've not massively talked about your own game, because you're talking about idolizing Patrick Roy growing up. The position has changed so much in like even like the last 5 years, not even like the last 20, when you were growing up. So what kind of goalie would you say you were? Where are your strengths? What are the things you really pride yourself on between the pipes?
Yeah, I believe that over time I've changed my game because I've calmed down a little bit. I was definitely a little bit of a hassock, I could say, just sprawling around, just trying to get the touch the puck, you know what I mean? Whatever I could get on, like my body on, that's how I played. And over the years, just talking to the goalie coaches, and you want to play at the next step, and you can't kind of be aggro. Like some people can get away with it. Obviously, Hasek did, but the game has evolved. The players are getting better. They're getting smarter. They're getting patient. So that's what I try to work on a lot throughout the years is getting patient, being controlled in my body and everything. But I still like to stack the pads even not every now and then. But it comes in a certain situation, just how the players hold the puck and everything. But it's not an all time it's not all the time thing. But I believe that I've been trying to get better at skating, and because skating is the biggest thing, you got to be the best skater on the ice. I know that a lot of people might be saying, "Oh, goalies don't skate," but they really do. The players are quick; they move the puck around, and you have to be in position because if you're not in position, they're probably picking that corner on you. And I feel like as a player, as a goalie, I'm very athletic, but I right now I've been trying to taper it down to only use my athleticism when it has to be used and not use it all the time because you can get caught with that and I do like the glove save and sometimes Luch or Ruff might tell you that yeah I like to throw it up the windmill every now and again so yeah as a goalie I would say that I've now that I'm older and a little bit more knowledgeable, I like to calm my game down a little bit, but I am an athletic goalie and I do like to be creative when I make saves. I'm not just like the standard kind of robot and just have to abide by the goalie rules. Like I kind of like to step out of that familiar place and kind of make up my own things as I can. I just like to keep that creative mind because if you like, you gotta have fun too while you're in that, and it's obviously like sometimes it can help you and sometimes it can hurt you. But that's the big thing. It's like learning who you are and learning your game and just being transparent with yourself and kind of making it your type of game. Yeah. So yeah, that's I would
interesting.
say. Yeah.
It's interesting to me because I remember not all that long ago, you generally see this like a trickle down effect, no matter what it is, like from the NHL down to the the coast, it'll end up in Europe. There was a period there where they were just signing big fellas that would just drop, stick the shoulders up, cover as much of the net as possible. But I think that's starting to change again. Guys that maybe aren't that big but are a little bit more athletic, that can have better reactions, that can maybe recover and make saves. So it's interesting that you've kind of picked up on that as you've developed and are trying to do that in your game. That's really interesting. And the game will have changed as well from when your new coach Kevin Moore was playing there. Obviously, he went to UMass and played a little bit of pro before going into coaching. Tell us about the recruitment process with Kevin and what's it going to be like having a goalie as a head coach? That's a little bit unique.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be fun. I always wanted him to coach me. Obviously, he kind of recruited me to Adrian, but I never really got him as a coach. As soon as he like kind of recruited me, I don't know how long after that it was released that he ended up going to another school. But yeah, I'm excited to come in and have him coach me. Like obviously he's a goalie and you get like a goalie mind as well. Like you just don't have a head coach kind of um oh, it's just the goalie, you gotta let him be. Like now you have someone that's knowledgeable in all areas, and obviously he's gonna cater to the players, but you can also cater to his goalies and kind of pick their brain, and you can pick his brain and go back and forth. And it's not just like you're there kind of learning on your own. Like now you have a coach that's gonna help you. And yeah, sometimes you get goalie coaches, but like at the same time, you don't always have that. And the head coach, he could see everything. And sometimes you don't have your goalie coach always available. Now you do in a certain sense, And then yeah, just cool because now he knows obviously the everything about the game and how it's going to work for the team and all that. And it's not just a goalie coach kind of just working with the goalies. Like now he's like I said previously, this like he can work with the players, he can work with the goalies. He knows what's working for you, what's not working for you. You get that feedback, and obviously he's a very, very, very good coach. And yeah, I'm just excited just to get this opportunity because I always wanted it and I just didn't happen. I was upset, and now that I get the opportunity again to actually be on his team, I'm very excited for it. So.
Well, we're very excited to have you as well. Just tell us a little bit about because you've got so many references for Coventry. Like, it must have been such an easy decision. You could pick up the phone to one of several guys that they would tell you about the place. What have the guys prepped you for? Because obviously you've got the city to prepare for, and you've got the league to prepare for as well, which is a little bit of a nuanced league, the Elite League. What with the cup, the league being the big prize, and the playoffs at the end of it.
Yeah. Just like the little things that what have they said? I would say, well, obviously I've talked to Luch about traveling and everything, and that was like a big thing. Just how you have to be prepared. Like, obviously it's a great league. I even talked to Zachary Hines. He just told me like how good the league is. Like, you have to be ready every day, and like if you make a mistake, like it's gotta be recognized, just because like those guys are good. So if the detail's off, like they're gonna expose you, and you have to work your way there. And it's just like kind of having the right mindset. Obviously, it could get tough down there if you don't have the right mindset, and sometimes the sun's not always out. That's what I heard. And you just you gotta get some of the supplements, like some vitamin D, and just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, like realistically, and make sure that your mental game's there, and like you're taking care of yourself, like you're being social and everything, learning how to drive on the other side of the road. So yeah, but yeah, just like the big thing was like the preparation, like kind of enjoying the moment. Because like if you don't enjoy the moment, you're not gonna have fun. Don't be on kind of like autopilot, and kind of get out there into the community and enjoy the fans, and make sure that you appreciate every moment that you're there, because like this could be your last year of ever playing hockey, and you never know. Or you could be, this might be the last experience you have with that player on your team. And this, like, yeah, like I didn't know that I was going to be on the same team as Alessio Luciani again, or Sam Ruffin again, you know what I mean? So like just kind of enjoy the time that you have with those guys, and the new people that you meet, and the new experiences that you're going to create. That's like kind of the big things that I took away from what they're kind of like saying to me about Coventry, and about moving across the world, basically. So on the other side of the pond.
For a handful of very young men, that's a very, very mature attitude to take, because you're absolutely right. Like, and this is something that Kevin's been hugely pushing last year, was that fun element, enjoying it. That you've got a finite time in your life where you get to do this professionally. You're longer retired than you are a hockey player, so enjoying being around the guys, and as you said earlier, enjoying the feeling of that puck in the middle of the glove hand there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really good to hear. And you've got the best part of a month and a half before you do head over the pond. What are you going to enjoy doing for the rest of the summer before you pack up and head over to Coventry?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be working. Obviously, that's not the funnest thing, but you gotta make your money so you can have some fun. I will be actually heading down to Nashville, and I think Alessio and Ruff might come down with us. We're actually going with some of the players that won the 2022 season, so that's gonna be good. It's kind of like a little reunion down in Nashville, so that'd be fun. And then the week before that, I'm actually going down to help Cam Gray out with the goalie camp. So that's gonna be fun. That's in Indianapolis, so I get to help him out. And then I am goalie coaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm in like a little summer league, so I get to see some friends, and play with some really good players that are around here. And yeah, that's the big thing, and just love coaching. So I can't wait to keep on coaching all these kids, and then going up to Indy and meeting new faces, and creating new bonds, and kind of reuniting with Cam. I haven't seen him since last year, actually at one of our guys' wedding. So it was good to see a bunch of the boys last year. So it's good that we get to see each other again this year. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
It's good that you've got a whole bunch of stuff to look forward to, and we get to look forward to seeing you in Coventry in August. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. We really appreciated it. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in once more to the Blaze podcast. Hope you didn't mind the sneaky surprise of announcing Sam Ruffin, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.